Last week we discussed from the Bilvavi, we discussed in the Shir that Olam Haba, the world to come, really is by definition Kirvas Hashem. It's clinging to Hashem and being connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the more we can build on that relationship in this world, the more we can expect to have that bond, that clinging between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the next world. Today, the Bilvavi is going to guide us in how to take the first step in the relationship. And here we go. We're going to read them in Hebrew. We'll screen share. And just give me one moment. Photos. Okay. We are up. Kishem shebenyoni olam hazeh. The same way in this world, in olam hazeh. B'mischar, when a person does business, osim yom b'shana sfiras malay. We take time to take inventory, at least once a year. What do? We close down the store. Yeah, you go through what's selling, what's not selling, what's happening. Am I selling the right items? Which items are going? So on and so forth. We need to do this with our own business, with our own lives. We're not dealing with 15 minutes to think about something, a half hour, an hour. This is a serious thing, even more than just a financial business. We have to take stock. And the first thing we need to ask ourselves, and again, keep in mind, the Bilvavi is not telling us what to do. He's not telling us what to do. He's just guiding us that if we're going to want to do something, this is how it has to work. Step number one is I have to ask myself, do I want it? Do I want it? Do I want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I have to take stock and I have to know whether I want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's step number one. I have to ask myself that question. The imkain, and if I do want to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, do I want to be close or not? And if I do want to be close, ha'imani dorech b'derech, am I walking on the path? Shemikareves osi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's going to bring me closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So first of all, do I want it or not? We're entitled not to want it. Okay, we're giving up on that aspect. We're not going to be zochet to come closer to Hashem. But if I do want to be closer to Hashem, am I on the path that's bringing me closer? This is the inventory that we're taking. Oh, or perhaps, listen to this. This is very, very powerful. Oh Shema, or perhaps, zu derech, even this path that I'm on, shalimud Torah, of Torah learning, b'seichel, that my mind is full of Torah, v'kiyum mitzvahs, and I'm fulfilling mitzvahs. Im kitzas aseiris, I'm a little bit inspired. I'm a little bit inspired by this. Yeah, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Avol kirvas Hashem amitis, but clinging, bonding with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Torasi v'kiyum mitzvahs, ain't a. You know something? I'm on the path of Torah and mitzvahs, but for some reason, it's not working. It's much easier to see this in others than ourselves, right? You ever look at people? It could be somebody sitting and learning in Kollel. It could be just a family that's in Klei Kodesh, and because it's much easier to look at others, but we're not supposed to. We should be looking at this in ourselves, right? But you're like, what's going on? There's so much Torah in that person's life. There's so much Torah in that home. Where's Hashem? Where's God there? Like, does Hashem even exist? The reason why it's possible, listen, Hashem certainly exists. But the reason why it's possible to not see Hashem and for people to be so involved in Torah, so involved in mitzvahs, and not be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is because we need to realize that the glue that keeps it all together takes time. It takes time. It takes recognition that why am I learning Torah? Why am I doing mitzvahs? How is this bringing me closer to Hashem? And is it? How is it? And is it? Is this what's working? Is this what's working? We need to spend time the same way like we started out today. The same way people take inventory in their business, we need to take inventory of our Torah and mitzvahs. And then we have to search and to clarify. The derech barura with absolute clarity. I've got Torah, I've got mitzvahs, I'm trying to do the right thing. For some reason, I'm not feeling this closeness. I'm not feeling this kirvas Hashem. But we have to want that path. We have to want that path. We can't just assume, and this is what we're going to get into right now, we can't assume that performing mitzvos is going to give us that path. Performing mitzvos is part of, Hashem says, listen, you want to cling to me? This is how. The way to cling to me is through the study of Torah, through the performance of mitzvahs. But if you don't even realize that the reason why you're performing mitzvahs and studying Torah is to cling to me, there's going to be a lack in our relationship. And you're not going to feel that. It has to be absolutely clear that the purpose of life is to really come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person might think, I'm just going to speak out the chapter 41 in English because it's very short, but the Bilvavi just wants to stress to us in the next paragraph that a person thinks that he's immersed in Torah and mitzvahs, shakua, immersed, mitzvahs, I think that automatically, sheyavo yom, the day will come and one day I'm just going to feel close. I don't know, right now I'm not feeling close, but that's what people think. Many people make this mistake. And we say to ourselves, instead of focusing on how to come close to Hashem, instead, what I'm going to focus on is doing mitzvos, learning Torah. I'm not going to think about God, because that's not the main thing. That's what we think. All right, and over the course of time, I'll feel close to Hashem. Ulam be'emes ze'ino klal. This is not the case. It's not the way it works. Okay? So far what we have is 2 points that's building up this awareness that we need to have. Point number one is the closer we are to Hashem in this world, the closer we will be to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Olam Haba. The next point is, does this matter to me or not? If it doesn't matter, it's not going to be built. We're not minimizing the performance of mitzvahs and limud Torah. All these things are phenomenal. Again, we have to realize that the purpose of this discussion that we're having together is not to tell us what to do. It's understanding a relationship. Not the what do I do. We're discussing after that. Assuming we know what to do, how is it building a relationship? How is my Torah mitzvahs built? And is it? And does everybody's Torah mitzvahs build that same relationship? It's too vague. Therefore, says the Bilvavi, we need to contemplate these questions. And we have to ask ourselves, first of all, do I care about the relationship? Do I want to feel a relationship? Because I'm telling you, he says it's important. Because the more you build on it in this world, that's the better your Olam Haba is going to be. And not even being concerned about Olam Haba. In this world, we're going to feel close. Olam Haba should be a continuation of this. And the next step is going to be, if we do care about the relationship, how do we take our positive actions into the relationship? How do we take it into the relationship in a way that it is built? He's now going to give us a fascinating understanding of a Gemara. He's going to give us a viewpoint on it that I never knew this before. Okay, and the Bilvavi is going to quote to us a Gemara Brachos, page 57a, Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. The Gemara Brachos tells us that the Jewish nation is so precious to God because even the empty ones among us are full of mitzvos like a pomegranate. Afilu reikonim shebahem, even the empty ones are full of mitzvos like a pomegranate. I always understood this to mean that as Jews, there are so many mitzvos that we perform that we don't even realize are mitzvos. And the same way you open up a pomegranate and you think you saw all the seeds, and then there's another chamber, and there's more seeds, and then there's another chamber, and there's more seeds. So too, we shouldn't sell ourselves short and be like, oh, I'm just an average guy, I'm an average gal, what do I do anyway? No, right? Every time we smile at somebody, every time we wash our hands, every time we make a blessing, every time we think about Hashem, even those of us who think we're empty, we're so full of seeds, it's not to be believed, right? We're like a pomegranate. That understanding of the Gemara is true. The Bilvavi is now going to share a further understanding of this Gemara from Reb David Povarsky, Zichron Levracha. He says a fascinating thing. Let's read this together in Hebrew. Says Reb David Povarsky like this. Why does the Gemara say that even an empty Jew is full of mitzvos like a pomegranate? If you're empty, you're not full. Even the message of the Gemara is a contradiction. Because again, the Gemara says, Afilu reikonim, even the ones who are empty, have numerous mitzvos like a pomegranate. Well, then I'm not empty. What do you mean? So listen to this. Listen to Reb David Povarsky gives a tirutz nifla. Let's read this together in Hebrew. Hu Omer. He says, Reb David Povarsky says, Sheyochol lihios. It is possible. She'adam yesh bo mitzvos rabos me'od. A person can have a tremendous amount of mitzvos. Talmud Torah, study Torah the whole day. Chesed, kindness, so on and so forth. Ulam hu adayin mugdar karik. I can be empty. How's that possible? Listen to this. Kol zo slama. How's this possible? Says Reb David Povarsky, what's the difference between a pomegranate and an apple? Harimon, a pomegranate, yesh bo gareinim rabim, has many separate seeds. Ulam kol echad omal atzmo. You can separate those seeds. You can separate them. They live in one pomegranate, but you can see each one individually. This is very deep. Follow along it. This is fascinating. Lo kemo tapuach, as opposed to an apple or agas. Agas is a pear, yeah? Shahakol miksha achas. When you bite into an apple, that juicy gift from Hashem is one entity. It's one unit. It's one bite. It's an apple is one thing. Kain hadavar b'mitzvos sha'adamosa. This is how mitzvos work. Listen to this. Adam yachol lo motor l'kiyam mitzvos rabim. We can study Torah, perform many mitzvos. Ulam hakol b'bchinas reik, and we can still be called empty. Why? Mikivan shehakol nifrad echad min hasheni. Because, I did this mitzvah, that mitzvah. I did chesed in the morning, I did prayer, I did that. The ein chibur amiti, but there's nothing unifying my mitzvos. There's like pomegranate seeds. Each one is noticeable in a separate way. So you have this good thing, you have that good thing, you have this good thing. All right, that's great. We're certainly going to receive tremendous amount of reward. But where's the unifying force for all of it to bring it together? And what is that unifying force? Torah and mitzvah should be one unit. I'm the same Jew in the street that I am in shul. I'm one entity. I'm not compartmentalized. It's not I have disconnected things, chas v'shalom, God forbid. A person can study Torah and the entire day. But we need it b'mahalach shel binyan. It has to be like a building, like an edifice. We have to build an edifice. What keeps an edifice together? It is the relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mahi osa nekuda. What is the one concept? What is this one element? Shema achedes es kol haTorah v'amitzvos, that keeps a unit of all my Torah and mitzvahs. Devekos b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is being connected to Hashem. There's the word that they write in English here is there's harmony between everything. There's harmony between me as a Jew and Hashem and the Torah. Yisrael v'oraisa v'kudra b'chuchadu. We're that one bite of apple. It's all one thing. When I play sports, when I go shopping, when I get dressed, when I take a shower, when I wash my hands, when I study Torah, when I do chesed, if it's all being done with a mindset of I am clinging to Hashem, I am bonding with Hashem, I am coming close to Hashem, that's dveikus. Or God forbid, we can be learning Torah, performing mitzvos, and not have the harmony between all of it. And I don't really have Hashem with me all the time. And that's why we could be making the mistakes that we do in life. How can somebody with so much Torah, so much mitzvah, which we do, we're full of Torah mitzvahs, how can we be lacking? And sometimes decision-making skills are out the window. How does that come? Because there's nothing bringing my Torah and mitzvahs together. Where's Hashem in all this? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants, and we need to realize, this is the main thing. I need to realize, I, as an individual, need to realize, Hashem wants to dwell in me. Hashem wants to dwell in me, in my edifice. There could be Torah, there could be mitzvahs, but if there's no unified heart devoted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's nothing bringing all of this together. Says the Bilvavi to end this paragraph. It's a very heavy thing. He says like this: if we are confident that we want to cling to Hashem, then kol adam va'adam, each and every one of us, mukhrach, must, la'asos cheshbon nefesh la'atzmo v'livdok. We need to ask ourselves, and we need to check. We need to take stock. And I have to say, I have to think to myself, ha'im ha'mahalech shalachayim shali, the way that I'm living my life right now, ha-Torah with Torah, ha-Tefillah, and daven all the time, b'ha-mitzvos, and I perform mitzvos all the time, b'chulu v'chulu. Heim b'mahalech, am I doing them on a path, sheyavi yosi livdveikos amitis, that are going to bring me on a path of true connection, muchshis, real feeling, b'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that I am one with Hashem. I am one unit, like that one bite of the apple. Are my Torah and mitzvahs doing this for me? Am I understanding the path that I need? Not to perform, but to be one with. O Shema, or is my current path Hamaisim shali, with my actions, b'mahalech shorei konim shabahem, where I've got a lot of good stuff inside of me, but I'm still empty because it's just a bunch of separate things going on. Shenechsar nakudas ha'achdas, and it's lacking the unifying element. It's lacking the glue. All of my Torah and mitzvahs that I'm performing is lacking the glue, which is dveikus b'Hashem. That glue is dveikus b'Hashem. It's clinging to Hashem. Tzarich zehirus gedola b'nakuda hazu. This point, says the Bilvavi, must be considered very carefully past this discussion that we're having here this evening. This question we need to really consider for ourselves. I need to walk away from this class and sit down and consider this idea carefully. Rabim sevurim u'betuchim. Many of us are confident. Shedarkum derech amitis. That listen, I'm a good Jew. I have the true path, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And guess what? If I keep doing what I'm doing, b'derech zu b'rabbai sashonim, over the course of time, over the course of many years, heim yizku l'kirvas Hashem, it'll bring me closer to Hashem. Ulam zu lo tamid amiti. Says the Bilvavi, it's not always wrong. Okay, again, many people are confident, and many people of us say, you know what, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. over the course of time, I'll get close. He said this is not necessarily true. Lo tamid amiti. This is not true all the time. And I'm going to read these words very slow. Lepa'amim, sometimes, ze tirutz. It's an excuse. Mila'avoid, so that I don't need to work b'derech kasha yaiser. I don't need to work on the harder approach. Va'amitis yaiser, and the more truthful approach of building a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Very often, me saying, you know what? I'm going to do what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing it. And over the course of time, he says, consider this very carefully, because it can be an excuse of the Yetzer Hara to not focus on a greater and more truthful path with Hashem. Because it's certainly easier to think my path is correct, and this will bring me closer to Hashem. But what's going to happen? I'm now 120. And I'm going to come up. I'm going to come up to the. I'm going to go to the next world. And I'm going to be shown, and I'm going to realize that, you know what? Oh my goodness! All this closeness that I've been waiting for all the years just never happened. We're going to receive reward in Olam Haba. Again, we got to keep reiterating this. We're not knocking doing what's right. Yiddishkeit is a religion of action. We need to take these actions, learn Torah, do mitzvahs, all these things. We're not. But to make it beautiful, to make it perfect, to make it home, real, true, it needs to be brought together with Kirvas Hashem. It needs to be brought together with the Kirvas Hashem. Therefore, bivadai, certainly, a person needs to be suspicious of themselves. Livdo kasatzmo hetiv v'lachshod ma'od. Be chayshin myself. Suspect myself. Shema darko eno derech hamitis. Maybe there's a better path than I'm currently doing this evening. V'al yitla atzmo. And don't rely. Shazu derech shakabaram. Oh, listen, this is what everybody else is doing. And they were fine. Yeah. Don't do it because this is what Orthodox people do. And I see them doing it, so I'm going to do it. That's not what it's about. Ki tzarich levarer kol derech meikorev me'odam balasaga v'lei lismach alma sheshayim b'stama mipei umisham. We need to look at our personal approach closely. Who am I? Who am I? I am a person who is desiring. Again, we've already made that decision at the beginning of this year, right? We've desired, it's important. I desire to have a closeness, a personal relationship with Hashem. And therefore, I'm not acting because other people act like that. Too often, I'm just going to throw this on the side. Bilvavi is not saying this, but too often, we can get down on our Yiddishkeit because we hear bad things about what other, Torah people are doing. When we have a personal relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it doesn't matter. What does somebody else's Mishigas have to do with me? We're supposed to, listen, we need community, of course, and we're supposed to learn from each other and support each other. But it's not enough to say, look what everybody else is doing. I'm just going to do what they're doing because that's not my relationship with Hashem. I need a personal. I need to suspect myself and be very careful. And he says, very important. It's not like it added. This is crucial. He says, Kol Adam tzarich levarer es darko uleheschanein ma'od. You got to daven. You got to pray for this to work. Because prayer is the relationship. I'm talking to Hashem. As I say all the time, when you talk to God, it's called praying. When God talks to you, it's called praise. Hashem's not talking to us, we're talking to him. We stand there in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we say, Hashem, I'm talking to you, I'm in a relationship with you. When we have to ask Hashem to help us in the relationship. That's tefillah. So we have to be lehischanin me'od la'kadosh baruch Hu, to daven a lot, at length, to help me, sheyazar lo, to help me, the yachin oso le'emes, and show me my truth. Hashem, I'm learning Torah, I'm performing mitzvos. I want to be yizke l'derech hamitis. I want to be zocha. I want to merit lehiskarev oso, to come close to you. I personally want to come close to you. The afim aderech hamitis. And even if we now understand this, we still need to daven tzarich l'espal shizke l'havanai seikaroi. Listen, there's many different paths. There's 12 tribes, different paths in relationships with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But sometimes you can even have a path which is true, but not necessarily understood. Saif Davar. Bilvavi ends off as follows, and this will end today's discussion. Saif Davar. He says, here's what we got to take away from this. Al kol adam, it's on each person. We got to figure this out on our own. Live charlo derech barura, to choose a clear path. What am I going to do to build my relationship? Shetavioso lematzo shavzegus b'akadosh baruch Hu. The Bilvavi says, after all this, you want a relationship with Hashem? I can't tell you what to do. We're all waiting for the Bilvavi to tell us what to do. Says the Bilvavi, if I tell you what to do, that's my relationship, it's not your relationship. We have to daven. We have to understand the importance of it, care enough to spend time contemplating the relationship, do the actions, and then stand in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say, God, I want a relationship with you. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring you into my life. The Torah and mitzvahs are not going to be, because I know that without HaKadosh Baruch Hu involved in my Torah and mitzvahs, bunch of separate pomegranate seeds. And therefore, we dive into Hashem, we understand the importance of it, and we need to figure out, which we'll keep doing. We're going to keep going on this. We'll figure out when. Like we got Pesach coming up next week. But we need to realize that we need that to talk to Hashem, to beseech Hashem at length, to say, I want this relationship with you. Ulevakish me'akadosh baruch hu ma'od ma'od, and to ask Hashem a lot. Sheyizke lederech, that we should merit to find the path. Harauya umat'ima avuro, that is fit and makes sense for me personally. Not the path that makes sense for everybody else, but we're davening to Hashem to give us the path to build a relationship with Him for me. Now I want to point something out here. That ends the reading of it in that section. I want to point something out of it. This doesn't mean, what it does not mean, that there's nothing to do unless you daven for it and you daven to start building a relationship. No. Bilvavi is telling us something important. The fact that I'm standing there and davening and requesting the relationship is in and of itself a relationship. It's not the end of the relationship, but it's not like, oh, I can't tell you what to do, so go pray because you're stuck. No, He's not doing that to us. He's not leaving us hanging. It's not what's happening. He's telling us, if you want a relationship, go and understand the relationship. And if you want to understand, our relationship is two ways. So we know who we are because we've contemplated that. I know who I am. I know where I'm coming from. I know my background. I know my experiences. But a relationship is two ways. So when we stand in tefillah and we say, Hashem, I'm here. I'm here. I'm going to bring you into my Torah. I'm going to bring you into my mitzvahs. I'm going to bring you into my home. I'm going to make my home a place that you can live comfortably with me, which may mean I might need to get rid of some things out of my house, right? God's in my house. I don't know if I want him to see what I'm, what I'm reading right now, right? But it may mean that we'll have to contemplate that on our own. But if we want the flip side of the relationship, you got to ask for it. You have to ask for the other side. You need the other side to say, I do, right? So we stand in tefillah in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we say, I'm already in on this relationship. I realize the importance of the relationship. I need this for my life. I need this for this world. I need this for next world. And now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please guide me along the path of building a relationship with you. That's the end of this category, of the first category of the Bilvavi. The next chapter is chapter 44, which he's going to start taking us on the steps. The chapter is entitled Emunah Sheyesh Borei Le'olam, Emunah, that there is a creator to the world, and the segue is as follows, where once we've clarified that there's an obligation and a purpose to come close and to cling to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then we have to start to clarify in my derech hachayim, in my path of life, how a person can possibly live on planet Earth in a world full of materialism. How can I live within that world and bring myself, my experiences, and my world along with me into my situation, so that everything I have, me, the things I have, can all be close to Hashem and can all cling to Hashem, because things that we have are also very much a part of us. And therefore, part of building a relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not forgetting our experiences. It's not throwing away everything that we have, but it's actually taking those things and bringing it with us, where these things themselves help build the relationship between me and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's the next section. Bez Hashem, hopefully we'll have a chance to continue learning and understanding our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu from the Bilvavi. We'll hold it here for this evening, and I will